Shazam times 2! Well, look at that. I always knew I was a superhero. Try again later? Okay, people, welcome back to another Fwoosh review. Today I'm taking a look at the Mattel DC Multiverse movie Shazam and Dr. Sivana. It has an exclamation point, so you have to say it like Shazam! Now, I haven't actually seen the movie yet, and when it was first announced, I thought, why? And then they cast it, and I was like, oh, why? But then I started seeing trailers, and I got caught up in the hype. It looks fun, and I'm hoping these are fun too. I have a track record with Mattel. We'll see how this goes. Looking at the packaging, it's your standard DC Multiverse fare. You got the window, you see what's in there. It has a picture from the movie. It has this weird kick out here at the bottom. Seems like a lot of work just for action figure packaging, but who am I to judge? It's a neat little thing. There's nothing against it. It's just odd. On the side, we get pictures of both characters from the movie. How many comic characters is Mark Strong going to play? On the back, you get the movie pictures again. You get bios for both characters. Get promotional shots for both figures. You'll notice that right here, it's completely different from the actual figure that we get. And I'll take a closer look at this once we get it out of the package. Warnings, unreadables. On the other side, second verse, same as the first. Top DC logo, bottom, the legalese, the UPCs, your winning lottery numbers. Let's see what's going on here. You'd think these would be more expensive with all the tape that they put in this damn thing. And there we go, all out of the package. And I have to say, quite a valiant effort on Mattel's part. There's still some wonkiness going on, but I just chalk that up to Mattel at this point. But there's a lot of good here too. Looking at Dr. Sivana first, you get dude in clothes. And I'm not putting that blame squarely on Mattel and DC. Marvel can do it too. That's why we never got a Zemo, I guess. But for what they had to work with here, a dude in an overcoat, furry collar, kind of a suit underneath. They did a pretty good job with this. First off, you saw me pull this back. Look how rubbery this is. Why can't we get all rubber pieces on action figures like this? You can put it behind them. You can get it out of the way. It doesn't hinder anything at all. Plus, I like the sheen on this better than the actual clothing. I could write this off as leather, having that semi-gloss kind of sheen to it, but when it gets to the suit itself, it's just plasticky. Nice sculpt, and I have no problem hitting anything with dull coat, so not a huge deal. It's just my first impression of the figure itself. The buttons are nicely punched in there. Same thing up here, up to the collar, and then this is part of this. I can't get over this. I want this for everything. Of course, come back in a couple of years, and this is probably rotted away or something like that. It's probably some kind of material that dusts after 2 years. And then up at the head, it's not the greatest Mark Strong likeness, but it looks like Sivana. I mean, I'm not putting two pictures side by side. Well, now I am, and yeah, it could be a little bit better, but at the same time, could be a whole lot worse. And then looking at Shazam, it's a nice figure. It's actually doing something. I haven't picked up a lot of multiverse figures lately, so coming back to it, it's been since Aquaman. It's nice to see some steps forward when it comes to action figures themselves. They put a texture all over the suit. It's a little bit heavier than what you see in the movie, of course. We see this a lot from all companies. They want to over-exaggerate it to make it more prominent at the 6-inch scale. And it doesn't really hurt it here. You get away from it a little bit and, you know, get your camera out of focus, and it's not terrible. The metal pieces or the armor pieces, nicely punched in. There's little details to kind of accentuate it. On the belt coming around the waist, I was going to say the belt coming around the waist. I know you can put belts other places, but 90% of the time a belt is around the waist. Down here at the boots, the bands, the separation, it's not just painted on. The paint is a little bit sketchy right here. It doesn't cover on parts of the belt, but then you get around to the back and oh man, I love this cape. I'm hoping at some point in the movie he does put the hood up. I just like that look, but even then, this design work going around the edge of the cape, just fantastically done. And it's not as soft as Sivana's jacket, but it isn't stiff either. In case you forgot, look at that. Look at that. You can bunch it up. You just, great. But because this is a little bit thicker, it's a little bit more weighty, and it kind of pulls on the torso, which we'll get to here in a second. Like I was talking about on the back of the package, it's more of a neutral look. He is smiling, but the eyebrows you can see are even. You get to the figure and he's got that cocky grin look to it and one eyebrow raised. I don't know which I like better. I think this is the better likeness, even though it is still a little bit cartoony. That is good. I like the expression. I think that's what's doing it for me. I wish there was a wash to the hair or a dry brush or something just to bring out some detail to it. Along with the expression, he is looking to the left a little bit, which can be slightly annoying. But at the same time, you just cock his head a little bit or turn him to the side a little bit, and he's looking forward. Did I mention how good this is? But it's not without its faults either. The foot is just a hinge and swivel going up into the legs. So you do get a little bit forward and back, but there's no rocker to it. It acts like there is. In fact, I was like, there's a rocker, but it's just the pin bending in the leg. And then up at the head, there's not a lot of movement. And what little you can move, well, there's a bunch of swivel, but what you can get it to move, it just comes back to neutral position. And the problem there is, pop that head off. There's a little bit of movement to the dumbbell joint, but I don't think it's actually a dumbbell joint. I think it's just mounted down in the neck somewhere. And then the ball up in the head, the hole is so small, it's just enough space to pop on there, but not actually move, except for a whole lot of swivel. On Shazam! The foot, it does have rocker ankle. They actually put the pin forward. They've also done something funky with the torso. I know most action figures are hollow, hard plastic, but this one feels really, really hollow. And that being super light, along with there being a little bit of heaviness to the cape, this joint that they've put in the mid-torso, it goes forward and back. It's a slot, so it slides forward and back. It's not loose enough to, well, he will go back if you force it back. But in neutral position, he's not just gonna fall. He doesn't even fall back. There's not a lot of tilt. And then they put a waist joint in there too, which with this up here, it's a little bit useless to have this down here. You can turn it to the side a little bit and have him crunch, or well, it's kind of a fake tilt. If it were me, if I owned a multi-million-dollar company, I would have left this cut out right here. Leave the sculpt unbroken and then let this upper joint do all the work. Twist, 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 twist. And then one thing that's just aesthetically displeasing is where they put the elbow joint. Now don't get me wrong, look at this, all the way up, baby. Mattel did that. But up here, they didn't center it on the bicep. Seeing it dead on, it's a little bit startling. But still, it gets this. So how much can I bitch about it? Going over articulation, we already talked about Sivana's neck. He's got a whole lot of swivel, not a lot of anything else. Hinge and swivel at the shoulder does come, up past 90. Swivels around. You know why it swivels around all the way? Because the jacket is so soft. Swivel at the bicep. Elbow, unfortunately, not as much range as Shazam! And I guess that good guys get all the good articulation. The bad guys, that's why they're so mad all the time. Hinge, swivel at the wrist. He's got an ab crunch, comes forward, not a whole lot, arcs back really well. Swivel at the waist. This lower jacket piece, it needs to be slashed somewhere. Is there a place for that? There's a seam. I guess I could cut right there. It's kind of the same material as the jacket. The leg up to here, but it pushes it back down a little bit. If there was a slash right there, I bet that would come all the way up. Back, out. Hell, that's better than some Marvel Legends. Swivel at the thigh. Double knee, not quite all the way up. Not bad though. And then the ankle, it's a hinge back, hinge forward, and rotates this way. Shazam fares a little bit better in the neck area. He does look up, not quite down, but at least it's the opposite of this direction. No tilt, swivel, arm hinges, again, up past 90. Swivels around, swivel at the bicep. Beautiful, beautiful double elbow. Hinge at the wrist, swivel. Pretty good abs, great arc back, no tilt. Swivel there. Ball at the hip, and out of the package, it was super tight. I worked it a little bit, loosened it up, and it does come up to there now. Back, great out. Swivel. Double knee, can kick his own ass. Hinge at the ankle goes back, goes forward, and then forward facing pin for rocker. For accessories, Sivana comes with two kind of open, evil, menacing hands. One is a little bit mangled from the package. And then he comes with two fists. This one's just plain. I forgot to mention on both of the right hands, he has a pinky ring. And then like I showed, the head does pop off and you have an alternate head that is Sivana with sunglasses on. Now it looks like he kind of took a punch. They may be a little bit crooked, and looking at it in the camera right now, it's not as crooked as I look at it when it's in person. And then one of the greatest accessories I have ever gotten with an action figure would be, focus, his 8-ball. I guess I need to watch the movie because I don't know what this is for. Does he ask it about the future? Is the big red cheese susceptible to black and white objects? I don't know. It's DC. It's probably some crazy thing. But it does go pretty good in his open hand. And there it will stay for eternity. Well, unless he falls down and it rolls away. For Mr. Shazam, he comes with two fists. He comes with two grip hands with nothing to grip. I would have liked to have been in that Mattel meeting. And then two chop hands or flight hands. As cheesy as this character is, and I love it. I'm not saying that in a bad way. This is how he flies. He's got a whoosh, Oddball thing about that, the other two hands are cast in the flesh color. The two flat hands are cast in red. So there's paint over it, but you can see the red plastic in the joint. I guess they ran out of room on the flesh tone mold. I forgot to mention a minute ago, I wish this yellow was a little bit more, electrifying. Maybe a white overspray or something, just to kind of break up just plain old yellow. Both figures stand at about 6 5/8 inches. For scale, here they are with the Mattel DC Multiverse Aquaman figures. They fit. It looks pretty good. For an idea against other companies' 6-inch lines, here's the Marvel Legends Black Panther and the Star Wars Black Series Stormtrooper. So a little bit larger, a little bit bigger. That's also apparent when you put it with the DC Universe Classics Shazam. So at the end of the day, both figures are pretty fun, and from what I've heard of the movie, that's pretty damn accurate. If it was more of a serious movie, I think I would have been a little bit more harsh on it. Some of the inherent silliness of the action figures on Mattel's part, it kind of raises my opinion, because the movie and what I think of the character is inherent silliness, you know? I'm glad I picked these up. Now Mattel, yes, they did make some nice decisions. God dang, that Sivana jacket. And then the articulation on Shazam! And now that I have an 8-ball in my action figure collection, I don't know. It was worth the price of admission alone. They just made a lot of good decisions here. Sure, there's still some Mattel stuff going on, but the good overshadows the bad, I think. Yes, I just said that, and now it is out there for posterity. I'll never be able to take it back. Unless I delete this video. So yeah, if you see the movie and you enjoy it, hell, I haven't even seen the movie, and I enjoy these action figures, I pick these up. If nothing else, you can take the Sivana and make a civilian for your action figure collection. Somebody, I don't know. I think there's custom potential in that figure. And then the big red cheese is just being big, red, and cheesy. So if you like the review, comment, like, subscribe. I'll catch you on the Fwoosh.